A tense moment unfolds as Bobby Scott presses Robert F. Kennedy Jr. over undisclosed pharmaceutical deals, raising a simple question with big implications. How can Congress approve what it hasn't seen?
I now recognize the ranking member, the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being with us today. Let me make a couple of comments before I get to questions. The first is I want to join in the bipartisan support for the Community Services Block Grant. It's a strong program and has good support. We want to make sure that stays as strong as possible. The other is to put the savings in the HHS budget in context. We were talking about a savings in the budget of $16 billion. The big ugly bill added $3.5 trillion to the debt with interest, maybe $4 trillion. Rounding, that would be to the nearest $100 billion, so we're not even a significant part of a rounding error. But these painful cuts are still very meaningful. The gentlelady from North Carolina talked about the school meal equipment grant, would help schools prepare healthy meals, but that program was zeroed out. Another comment, you had an exchange with the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Norcross, about mental health parity. We had a hearing yesterday with the Employee Benefit Security Administration where the administrator could not name any sanction he could impose to punish an insurance company for failing to comply with mental health parity. Apparently, he needs legislation because he didn't have the authority. So as you work with Mr. Norcross, I think he's got legislation pending. We may have to do legislation to fix that.
We lost our case on that, unfortunately, Congressman. We lost our case on that.
We couldn't help you. We'd fix it up with legislation. Mr. Secretary, the GAO is wrapping up responding to a request I made last year about DOJ's access to data and IT systems within many agencies, including HHS, because DOJ was having access to data in HHS that would be extremely sensitive health information, and we wanted to know what DOJ was doing with that information. Regrettably, we've been informed that the department is not fully cooperating with GAO, and one reason was given that the department has concerns about potential discrepancies between what the department produced in litigation and what it could provide to the GAO. My initial concern was, of course, that HHS was not cooperating with the GAO so it can complete its work, and now I'm concerned about whether or not the information given in litigation was actually accurate. So, Mr. Secretary, what did this department mean when it told the GAO that it could not fully cooperate or respond because it was concerned about discrepancies between what it produced in litigation and what it provided to the GAO?
You know, I don't know anything about that issue, but I will check with OGC and get back to you.
Okay, and can we get a commitment that you get the department to cooperate with the GAO so they can complete their work?
Of course.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, over the last several months, the Trump administration has signed deals with 16 prescriptive drug companies in exchange for exemptions from the tariffs. The White House and you have claimed that these deals have secured the lowest drug prices ever. Here's the problem. We don't have any public information about the terms of the deal, so there's no way to confirm exactly what these savings might be. Will you commit to releasing the information on those 16 most favored nation agreements entered into between the Trump administration and these 16 pharmaceutical companies?
I can really, I mean, most of the information is public. The prices are public. The old list price is public. There's proprietary information that I cannot, and business trade secrets that I cannot release. And in fact, in the Democrats and the Inflation Reduction Act legislation, there was an NDA provision that recognized during the negotiations there was going to be the ability for HHS to deal privately and make agreements, which Congress does all the time.
Are you asking us to codify these agreements? You said so in your opening statement.
We would like you to codify them.
Well, we got to know how are we going to do that without getting the agreements?
You'll know the endpoints, which is what we need to codify.
Well, if we don't, we need.
If you know what the prices should be, you can codify them, and there's nothing that prevents Congress from meeting with those companies as well. You do it all the time, and you do it in secret.
You're asking us to codify agreements and won't give us what the agreements are.
We're asking you to codify a most favored nation status so that we get the lowest price of any nation in the world.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I thank the gentleman.
The exchange quickly centers on transparency, with Bobby Scott questioning how lawmakers are expected to evaluate major policy decisions without access to the underlying agreements. His concern isn't just procedural, it goes to the heart of congressional oversight. When deals involving drug pricing and tariffs are made behind closed doors, it limits the ability of elected officials to verify claims or assess their real impact on the public. For Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the response leans on the need to protect proprietary information and trade secrets. That argument reflects a common challenge in government negotiations with private industry. Pharmaceutical companies often require confidentiality to protect competitive interests, but that same secrecy can clash with the public's demand for accountability, especially when the outcomes directly affect healthcare costs. The tension becomes more pronounced when the discussion turns to legislation. Scott points out the contradiction in asking Congress to codify agreements it hasn't fully reviewed. This moment highlights a broader institutional issue, the balance of power between the legislative and executive branches. Without full visibility into these deals, Congress risks becoming a rubber stamp rather than an active check on executive decision-making.